Poof! Where did all the water go? Hey, science fans! Imagine this. You wake up one morning, it's a beautiful day, say, May 26th, 2025. You decide to go to the beach. You grab your towel, your sunscreen, your little rubber ducky. You get to the shore ready for a splash, but wait a second. Where's the ocean? It's gone. Not just a little bit gone, like when the tide goes out. I mean completely, totally, utterly vanished. Vanished like a sock in a washing machine, but way, way bigger. A lot bigger, actually. Think about all that water just disappeared into thin air or maybe somewhere else entirely. Now that's a science mystery for the ages, isn't it? Did a giant cosmic sponge soak it all up? Maybe some super thirsty aliens from Planet Parched decided Earth's oceans looked like a giant smoothie. One blue raspberry planet-sized slushy, please, they might have said. Or perhaps Mother Nature decided to play the world's biggest prank on us all. Surprise! She'd chuckle, hiding the Pacific Ocean behind her back. It's a real head-scratcher. A puzzle that would make even the smartest scientists go, This is not your average Tuesday, that's for sure, not by a long shot. Think about it. All those vast, deep blue seas, the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, the Arctic, the Southern Ocean, all of them, just empty. Zip, nada, gone. It would be like looking out your window and seeing your swimming pool had been replaced by a giant, dusty hole. Except this swimming pool covers most of our planet. The sheer scale is mind-boggling, almost too big to truly comprehend. Can you even picture that much nothing where there used to be so much something? It's a thought that really makes your brain cells do a little dance. So what would happen next? Besides everyone asking, hey, where did the wet stuff go? Well, things would get pretty wild pretty fast. It wouldn't just be the surfers who were disappointed. The whole planet would be in for a roller coaster ride, and not the fun kind with loop-the-loops and cotton candy. This would be the kind of roller coaster that makes you say, I want to get off. But there's no getting off planet Earth, is there? We are all in this together, on our suddenly very dry, very confused little world. It's a scenario straight out of a science fiction movie, but with real science consequences. Okay, so the oceans have done a disappearing act. What's the first thing that happens? Utter, complete, and totally understandable panic. Imagine people living near the coast. They look out their windows. Instead of beautiful blue waves, they see a giant, empty, muddy, or maybe dusty, basin. Honey, one might say, I think we forgot to pay the ocean bill. Phones would start ringing off the hook everywhere. Is the ocean gone for you too? Okay, just checking. The internet would probably break from all the OMG #ocean gone posts. It would be trending worldwide for sure. News reporters would be scrambling, their hair even messier than usual. We're getting reports, unconfirmed of course, that the oceans, well, they've packed their bags and left. Scientists would be on every channel looking very serious, adjusting their glasses and saying things like, this is, scientifically speaking, highly unusual. No kidding, Professor. People would be tuning in, glued to their screens, their mouths hanging open like a surprised goldfish, if there were any goldfish left to be surprised, that is. It's hard to stay calm when the biggest thing on your planet just up and vanishes. Governments would call emergency meetings. Right team? Project Find the Water is a go. Leaders would try to calm everyone down. But how do you calmly explain that 2/3 of the planet's surface water just went on an unscheduled vacation? Citizens remain calm. We have top people working on it. Top people. Meanwhile, everyone's thinking, top people? Can they do magic? Can they make an ocean reappear? The level of global bewilderment would be off the charts. It would be a collective, worldwide jaw-drop moment, followed by a lot of nervous chatter and pointing at the empty space where the sea used to be. And let's not forget the sheer logistical chaos. Think of all the coastal cities, places like New York, Tokyo, London. Well, it's on a river, but the Thames estuary would look mighty strange. Their whole identity, their ports, their seaside views, all dramatically altered. People would be staring at vast expanses of suddenly revealed land. Is that a really big mud flat, they'd ask? The maps would all be wrong. Cartographers would have a meltdown. All my beautiful blue bits, gone. It's a world turned upside down, or rather a world suddenly much, much drier. This is more than just an inconvenience, it's a planetary emergency of epic proportions. So, the water's gone. What about everything that was the water? Or the water? Let's start with the boats. Billions of them. From tiny rowboats to giant supertankers. One second they're floating happily, maybe carrying bananas or important cargo. The next second, they'd all crash down onto the now dry seabed. Imagine the noise. A symphony of creaking metal and splintering wood, echoing across the newly barren ocean floor. It would be the world's biggest, messiest, and most surprising parking lot. Talk about a rough landing. Cruise ships mid-party would suddenly find themselves tilted at weird angles in the mud. The conga line would take a very unexpected turn. Submarines designed to explore the mysterious deep would find themselves not so deep anymore. More like, stuck in the muck. Captain, I think we've hit the bottom a bit harder than usual. The periscope would offer a rather dusty view. Naval fleets around the world would be instantly grounded. creating a very strange and sudden peace, or perhaps a very strange new type of battlefield made of ooze and stranded vessels. It's a shipyard's nightmare, or maybe a scrap metal dealer's dream. And what about all the creatures who called the ocean home? This is where things get really sad, really fast. For marine life, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's an instant catastrophe. Imagine being a fish, swimming along, minding your own fishy business. Suddenly no water, just air. Fish, as you know, are not big fans of air when it comes to breathing. They need water to pass over their gills. So, you'd have billions, trillions of fish, all at once, gasping, flopping, and realizing their watery world had just pulled a fast one on them. It's a truly heartbreaking thought, isn't it? The beaches, once places of fun and sandcastles, would become graveyards for crabs, starfish, and all sorts of little critters that live in the shallows. Whales and dolphins, those magnificent marine mammals, would be stranded. They breathe air, yes, but they need water to support their massive bodies and to find food. The beautiful coral reefs, those bustling cities of the sea, would be exposed to the harsh sun, their vibrant colors fading as they dry out, becoming pale skeletons of their former glory. It's an extinction event of unimaginable speed and scale, all in the blink of an eye. Our amazing underwater biodiversity gone in a flash. The sheer scale of marine life extinction would be staggering, truly beyond our wildest nightmares. We're talking about almost every single creature that lives in the saltwater oceans, from the tiniest plankton, the base of the entire marine food web, to the giant blue whale, the largest animal on Earth. They all depend on that massive volume of water for their survival. Without it, their homes, their food source, their very means of existence, vanish instantly. It's like pulling the rug out from under an entire ecosystem, a rug that covers over 70% of our planet. That's a lot of rug, and a lot of creatures on it. Consider the deep sea, a place of perpetual darkness and immense pressure, home to some of the weirdest and most wonderful creatures imaginable. Anglerfish with their glowing lures, vampire squid, and giant tube worms living near hydrothermal vents. These organisms are incredibly specialized, adapted to conditions that would crush us. When the water disappears, not only do they lose their watery medium, but the immense pressure they're accustomed to also vanishes. They would, quite literally, fall apart or be unable to cope with the sudden drastic change. It's a silent, unseen tragedy unfolding in the deepest parts of our world. The impact would ripple through the food web with lightning speed. Phytoplankton, the microscopic plants of the sea, produce a huge amount of the Earth's oxygen and are the primary food source for countless small animals. No water means no phytoplankton. No phytoplankton means no food for zooplankton. No zooplankton means no food for small fish. No small fish means no food for bigger fish and seals and seabirds and so on, all the way up the chain. It's a catastrophic domino effect, where every piece topples the next, leading to a near-total collapse of marine biodiversity. The term seafood would become a historical footnote. And what about the creatures that depend on the ocean but don't live in it full-time? Seabirds, for instance, puffins, albatrosses, penguins, their hunting grounds would be gone. They'd circle confusedly over the vast, empty basins, searching for the fish that are no longer there. Polar bears, who rely on sea ice to hunt seals, would find their icy platforms surrounded by barren land instead of productive waters. The delicate balance of life, so intricately connected to the oceans, would be shattered. It's a stark reminder of how interconnected everything on our planet truly is, a web of life torn asunder. Section 5, Earth's Wild Weather Ride. No ocean, big problems. Now let's talk about the weather. Oh boy, would the weather get weird. The oceans are like Earth's giant air conditioner and heater all rolled into one. They absorb huge amounts of heat from the sun, especially around the equator, and ocean currents, like the Gulf Stream, move that warm water to cooler parts of the world. This helps keep our climate relatively stable. Take away the oceans, and you've just unplugged Earth's climate control system. Things would go from predictably unpredictable to completely bonkers in no time at all. Prepare for some seriously extreme conditions. Without the moderating effect of all that water, land temperatures would swing wildly. Imagine deserts, but everywhere. Days would become incredibly hot because there's no massive body of water to absorb the sun's energy. Then at night, all that heat would radiate away into space super fast, making nights unbelievably cold. Coastal areas, once blessed with mild oceanic climates, would suddenly experience the harsh temperature swings of interior deserts. You might need a sun hat and a parka for the same day. It's a recipe for a very uncomfortable planet, to say the least. And rain? Well, where does most rain come from? Evaporation from the oceans. No oceans, no massive source of water vapor in the atmosphere. This means rainfall patterns would be catastrophically disrupted. Many regions would dry out completely, turning into vast arid wastelands. The lush rainforests, the fertile farmlands, all depend on rain that ultimately originates from the sea. Clouds would become a rare sight, rivers and lakes would shrink and eventually disappear as their water sources dwindle. Earth would become a parched, dusty planet, a far cry from our beautiful blue marble. Furthermore, oceans play a huge role in absorbing carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas. With them gone, all that CO2 we're pumping into the atmosphere would have fewer places to go, potentially accelerating global warming even more, at least initially before other long-term feedback loops kick in. The chemical composition of our atmosphere would start to change in unpredictable ways. Storms, if they could even form without oceanic moisture, would behave erratically. It's a climate catastrophe of the highest order, a complete reprogramming of how our planet's systems work, making Earth a very inhospitable place for most life as we know it. Section 6, the biggest thirst ever, a world without water. Okay, so the oceans are gone, marine life is a memory, and the weather is having a major meltdown. What's the next giant glaring problem? Water. Fresh water. The stuff we drink, the stuff plants need, the stuff that keeps us all alive. Most of the Earth's water is salt water in the oceans. While we don't drink that directly, the oceans are the primary engine of the water cycle. They evaporate, form clouds, and then that water rains down over land, filling our rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Without the oceans, that whole system grinds to a screeching halt. Imagine turning on your tap. Drip, drip, nothing. The reservoirs that supply our cities and towns would dry up with terrifying speed. Rivers, once mighty, would become trickles, then dry, dusty channels. What little fresh water remains in lakes, underground aquifers, and glaciers would become incredibly precious, more valuable than gold or diamonds. Nations would guard their remaining water resources fiercely. The fight for H2O would become the most critical struggle in human history. Forget oil wars. We'd be in the midst of water wars, a desperate scramble for every last drop. Agriculture would collapse. Crops need water, lots of it. Without rain and irrigation, fields would turn to dust. No crops mean no food for us, and no food for the livestock we raise. Supermarket shelves would empty out faster than you can say drought. The world would face a famine of unprecedented scale, not because of a lack of land, but a fundamental lack of the most basic ingredient for life: water. The lush green landscapes we take for granted would transform into barren, cracked earth. It's a thirsty, hungry future, and it looks incredibly bleak. Think about your daily life. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, flushing the toilet, washing your clothes, cooking your food, all these things require water. Suddenly, every single drop would have to be conserved, recycled, and fought for. Personal hygiene would become a luxury. Industries that rely on water, which is pretty much all of them, would shut down. The global economy would evaporate along with the oceans. The very fabric of society would be strained to its breaking point as people become increasingly desperate for this life-sustaining liquid. It's a crisis that touches every aspect of existence. Section 7. Humans to the rescue, our wacky survival plans. So, Earth is dry, hot, cold, and very, very thirsty. What do we humans do? We're a pretty resourceful bunch, aren't we? When our backs are against the wall, we can get incredibly creative. Or at least, we'd try. The first order of business: find water, any water. Scientists and engineers would be working around the clock. Maybe we could try to drill super deep wells, hoping to tap into ancient, untouched aquifers. Though how much water could those really provide, and for how long? It would be a race against time, a desperate search for hidden liquid treasures. People might start building giant dew collectors. These could be massive nets or sheets designed to capture any tiny bit of moisture that condenses from the air at night. It wouldn't be much, but every drop would count. Perhaps we could try to mine the ice caps at the poles, if any ice remains, and hasn't already melted or sublimated away in the new chaotic climate. Transporting that ice or meltwater across a dry, hostile planet would be a monumental challenge. Imagine convoys of water trucks, the most valuable vehicles on Earth, traversing barren landscapes under constant threat. Then there's the idea of desalination. But wait, the oceans are gone, so there's no salt water to desalinate on a large scale. Oops, maybe we could try to capture atmospheric humidity more directly, using advanced technology. Or perhaps, in a truly sci-fi twist, we'd look for water on other celestial bodies. Anyone fancy a trip to Europa for some ice? The logistics and energy required would be astronomical. But desperate times call for desperate and very expensive measures. It would be humanity's biggest science project ever, with survival as the ultimate prize. Communities would have to become incredibly efficient with water recycling. Every drop used would need to be purified and reused again and again. Personal water rations would be a certainty. We might even have to develop new ways to get water from our own bodies or from plants, if any hardy ones survive. It would be a future of careful sips, not long showers. Perhaps we build underground cities to escape the extreme surface temperatures and conserve moisture. Humankind has faced extinction-level events before, according to some theories. But this one, the vanishing of our oceans, would test our ingenuity and resilience like nothing else. Section 8. Exploring the empty bathtub, secrets of the deep, now not so deep. Okay, let's pause the panic for a second. There's one tiny, slightly cool, in a disastrous sort of way, side effect of the oceans disappearing. We'd get to see what's down there. The ocean floor, which covers most of our planet, is less explored than the surface of the moon. Suddenly, it's all laid bare. It would be like the world's biggest archaeological dig and geological survey all at once. Scientists, if they weren't too busy looking for water, would have a field day, albeit a very dusty one. What wonders and horrors might we find? Imagine standing on the edge of the Mariana Trench, now a colossal dry canyon plunging down nearly 7 miles. We could walk among towering underwater mountain ranges known as mid-ocean ridges that dwarf anything on land. We'd see bizarre volcanic formations, ancient lava flows, and the vast abyssal plains, now just immense, flat, dusty expanses. Shipwrecks from throughout history, from pirate galleons to World War II battleships, would be revealed, their secrets exposed to the air. It would be a historian's dream and an insurer's nightmare. So that's where my cargo went. There might even be clues to lost civilizations if any such legends hold water, or in this case held water. Sunken cities like Atlantis? Probably not, but who knows what geological formations or ancient coastal settlements now buried deep might be uncovered. We could study the Earth's crust directly, learning more about plate tectonics and the forces that shape our planet. It would be a unique, albeit temporary window into the planet's inner workings. Of course, exploring this new, vast and hostile territory would be incredibly dangerous, with unstable ground, toxic sediments, and extreme temperatures. The newly exposed seabed wouldn't be pretty for long. It would be a landscape of mud, salt flats, and the decaying remains of trillions of marine creatures. The smell would be indescribable, and probably not very pleasant. But beneath the grim surface, the geological structures would be awe-inspiring. Giant canyons carved by ancient underwater landslides, strange mineral deposits, and the very seams of the Earth's tectonic plates. It's a stark, barren beauty, a testament to the immense power of nature, both in its presence and its sudden, shocking absence. A new dangerous frontier on our own planet. Section 9, our big blue marble, let's keep it splashy. So we've taken a wild, slightly terrifying and hopefully thought-provoking journey to an Earth without its oceans. It's a pretty grim picture, isn't it? A dry, chaotic, and largely lifeless planet. From global panic and mass extinctions to extreme weather and a desperate scramble for water, the consequences are truly catastrophic. It makes you realize just how incredibly important our oceans are. They're not just big puddles of salt water, they are the lifeblood of our planet, the engine of our climate, and home to an astonishing diversity of life. They make Earth, well, Earth. This whole scenario, while thankfully fictional, serves as a powerful reminder. We need our oceans. They give us food, regulate our weather, produce oxygen, absorb carbon dioxide, and provide livelihoods for millions of people. They inspire us with their beauty and mystery. Thinking about them disappearing, even in a fun, sci-fi way, highlights their crucial role. It's like suddenly realizing you can't live without something you've always taken for granted, like air or gravity or catchy theme song music. Our oceans deserve our respect, our attention, and our protection. The good news? Our oceans haven't actually vanished. Hooray! They're still out there, sparkling and full of wonders, but they are facing real threats. Pollution, overfishing, climate change leading to warming waters and acidification. These problems might not make the oceans disappear overnight like in our story, but they can cause serious, lasting damage. We have a responsibility to be good stewards of this amazing blue resource. We need to work together, as scientists, as citizens, as Earthlings, to keep our oceans healthy and thriving for generations to come. So what can we do? Lots of things. We can reduce our use of plastics that end up in the sea. We can support sustainable fishing practices. We can work to reduce our carbon footprint to combat climate change. We can learn more about the oceans and educate others. Every little bit helps. Let's make sure our planet stays the beautiful blue marble we know and love. Let's keep the aqua in aquatic. Because an Earth without oceans, well, that's just not very scientific or very fun. Let's keep it splashy, folks.